A life of glamour, legendary roles, and a love that has become iconic. But behind the curtain of fame, fate has brought dangerous challenges, forcing them to face an unexpected tragedy. Let's lift the veil to discover the story of courage, tragedy, and the eternal legacy of a golden Hollywood couple who redefined the meaning of strength and true love. How did they overcome it all? And what makes them an eternal source of inspiration? If you value authentic storytelling, don't forget to support us by liking and subscribing to our channel. As the question of their shared, tragic destiny hangs heavy, the story must rewind, not to the dazzling premieres or hushed film sets, but to the unassuming steel town of Toronto, Ohio. Here, young Robert Urich, born to John Paul and Cecilia Monica Urich, a kid of Rusin and Slovak heritage raised in the Byzantine Catholic faith, first navigated a world far removed from any Hollywood dream. He was the quintessential all-American boy, a natural leader whose athletic gifts shone brightly, hinting at a future destined for something more. That prowess earned him a football scholarship to Florida State University, a sun-drenched campus where, in a twist of fate, his path briefly crossed with another future titan, Burt Reynolds. Though Urich toiled as a backup center on the gridiron, his true ambitions lay elsewhere. In an interview, he talked about his childhood in a steel town in Ohio, balancing sports football with his artistic interests, piano.
Quickly, I wasn't really cut out for that. I was still thinking about being an actor, and I had gotten my degree at Florida State and then a master's degree at Michigan State in broadcasting.
Driven by a quiet, burning fire, he pursued a degree in radio and television communications, later augmenting it with a master's in broadcast research and management from Michigan State University. This early ambition was palpable. He took voice lessons in Chicago, a city humming with its artistic pulse, and landed a sales job at WGN-TV, pulling in a meager $150 a week. But the constraints of a conventional career chafed against his burgeoning desire for the stage and screen.
Quickly, I wasn't really cut out for that. I was still thinking about being an actor, and I had gotten my degree at Florida State and then a master's degree at Michigan State in broadcasting.
The television station soon discovered he was moonlighting, chasing acting roles on the side, and the discovery led to his dismissal. For a moment, he even flirted with becoming a weatherman, a brief dalliance before realizing the green screen wasn't his calling. The hunger for something more profound, for the raw connection of performance, gnawed at him. Then came a pivotal moment. In a Chicago stage production of The Rainmaker, Urich poured his heart into his role. Watching from the audience was Burt Reynolds, by now a bona fide star whose opinion carried weight. After the curtain fell, Reynolds sought him out, his words cutting through Urich's uncertainty. "You've got it, kid. Move to LA. Give this acting thing a real shot." The endorsement was the spark Urich needed. With a potent cocktail of hope and trepidation swirling within him, he packed his bags, leaving the familiar behind to chase the glittering, precarious promise of Hollywood. Los Angeles awaited, a city of dreams and countless heartbreaks. And Urich, with Reynolds' words echoing, stepped onto its threshold, unaware of the television revolution that was just around the corner, or the iconic roles that would soon define him. The first taste of Hollywood's capricious nature would be swift, but what would it truly take for him to break through the formidable barriers of Tinseltown? Hollywood's door had indeed creaked open for Robert Urich, but the City of Dreams swiftly delivered its first lesson in caprice. His initial guest spot on the FBI in 1972 was a foot in the door, quickly followed by what seemed like a major break, a lead role in the television adaptation of the hit film Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice. Hope soared, only to be dashed when the show cratered in the ratings, vanishing after a mere 6 episodes. Was this the end of his Hollywood dream? So soon after it began for Urich, it was merely a detour, a test of the resilience that would come to define him. He didn't retreat. That same year, he stepped onto the silver screen, not in some forgotten independent film, but alongside the formidable Clint Eastwood in Magnum Force. Playing a motorcycle cop with a vigilante streak, Urich proved he could command the big screen with the same intensity he brought to television. In an interview, Urich said that a year after taking a small role in Magnum Force, he went to Warner Brothers to audition for another project. By chance, he met Clint Eastwood and director Ted Post on the street. Eastwood proactively crossed the street to greet and visit Urich, which made Urich very impressed and grateful that Eastwood still remembered him.
And I was going to the Warner Brothers lot to audition for some part in something. I can't remember what it was. And I had my script and I had worked on it for days, and I was on one side of the street on the lot walking to the interview, and on the other side of the street was Clint and Ted.
The performance showcased his range, but his path to true stardom still felt elusive until fate and his old friend Burt Reynolds intervened once more. Reynolds, ever the supportive ally, persuaded television powerhouse Aaron Spelling to grant Urich an audition for his new action series, S.W.A.T. Spelling, a maestro of hit television, was instantly captivated when Urich read for the part of Officer Jim Street. He saw the cool-headed charisma, the inherent likability. S.W.A.T. exploded onto television screens in 1975 as a mid-season replacement, and Urich became an overnight sensation. The show was a high-octane thrill ride, and Officer Jim Street was its breakout star. Yet, the fickle nature of fame struck again, just as quickly as it rose. S.W.A.T. fell, canceled in 1976 amid a flurry of critical complaints about its on-screen violence. Undeterred, Urich kept moving, taking a memorable comedic turn as Peter the tennis player in the hit sitcom Soap, and then playing the handsome, self-absorbed talk show host Paul Thurston in Tabitha, a bewitched spin-off that flickered briefly before fading due to poor scheduling. Then, Aaron Spelling beckoned again. This time, the project was Vega, and the role was Dan Tana, a stylish private investigator navigating the neon-drenched underbelly of Las Vegas.
We didn't have a lot of dough, and somebody offered me a TV series, not having done too much, and suddenly I thought, boy, this is pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
I'll be able to pay the rent this month, and I got a lot of attention when I did Vegas, and it was for Aaron Spelling.
To fully embody the tough guy detective, Urich committed himself to a dramatic physical transformation, packing on 40 pounds of solid muscle, jumping from 180 to a lean 220 pounds of on-screen power. The result was electric. Vega became an instant phenomenon. Audiences couldn't get enough of Dan Tana, the flashy cars, or the high-stakes action. Urich owned the role, earning 2 Golden Globe nominations and cementing his status as a premier television leading man. But even the brightest stars can dim. By its 3rd season, the ratings for Vega began to slide, and with little network support, ABC pulled the plug in June 1981. The glittering lights of Vegas went out for Dan Tana, but Robert Urich, the resilient actor, was far from finished. Though a household name, the allure of the big screen and roles with more profound grit still called to him, little knowing his most challenging parts, both on and off camera, including a battle against an unseen, formidable adversary, were still on the horizon. His initial foray included the sci-fi thriller Endangered Species, and a brief, ill-fated return to series television with Gavilan, where he played a former CIA agent turned oceanographer. Despite a cool premise, audiences didn't connect, and the show vanished after only 7 episodes. Undaunted, he explored diverse film genres, from the quirky space comedy, The Ice Pirates, and Wes Craven's bizarre horror flick Invitation to Hell in 1984, to the heartfelt drama Turk 182 in 1985. Though these big screen ventures didn't ignite the box office, television, and a certain sharp-witted Boston private eye had other plans for him. That same year, 1985, Urich struck gold once more, landing the role that would become arguably his most beloved, the tough, streetwise, yet deeply principled title character in Spenser for Hire. For 3 solid seasons, and in several subsequent made-for-TV movies like Spenser Ceremony, Spenser Pale Kings and Princes, Spenser the Judas Goat, and Spenser, A Savage Place that stretched through the 90s, he embodied the iconic detective, captivating millions. His versatility continued to shine as he took on hosting duties for the prestigious National Geographic Explorer in 1988, a role that earned him a Cable Ace Award and showcased his more cerebral, curious side.
Explorer, the National Geographic Explorer, which is on TBS every Sunday night. It's a series. And up until now, I've just come into the studio like you do, and I do wraparounds and I introduce films, and I've narrated a couple of films for them.
Then, in 1989 came a career triumph with the critically acclaimed miniseries Lonesome Dove. His portrayal of Jake Spoon, a former Texas Ranger with a tragic, complex arc, garnered widespread praise for its depth and emotional resonance. Despite receiving praise for his role as Jake Spoon in Lonesome Dove, Urich was disappointed that the role did not bring him more important film offers or recognition.
Well, it didn't give me it did not propel me into any particular elevated area. You know, I didn't get a lot of movie offers after it, and was, I must say, a little disappointed when...
The 1990s saw Urich relentlessly pursuing his craft, navigating a landscape of short-lived series like American Dreamer, television movies such as 83 Hours Till Dawn and Crossroads, and even a quick-to-fail sitcom, It Had to Be You, opposite Faye Dunaway. He lent his voice to a rare Disney documentary, Alien Encounters from New Tomorrowland, a one-time broadcast that became legendary among Disney aficionados. In 1996, it seemed another major hit was at hand, with the Western drama The Lazarus Man. Urich delivered one of his strongest late-career performances. Viewers embraced the show, and a second season was greenlit, Hope Soared, then Spenser, Lonesome Dove, and A Dark Premonition, The Lazarus Man. With the vibrant lights of Vega receding in his rearview mirror, Robert Urich, now a firmly established television star, refused to settle into a comfortable typecast. He inked a deal with MGM, his sights set on conquering the film world, a new frontier for his ambitions. An invisible enemy struck, news arrived, stark and brutal. Robert Urich had synovial sarcoma, a rare and aggressive cancer, in a move that Urich would later decry as callous. Castle Rock Entertainment, the show's production company, abruptly canceled the series. "They didn't ask if I could still work," Urich stated, his voice laced with shock and a profound sense of injustice. "They just pulled the plug." Betrayed by the studio but unbowed by the diagnosis, Robert Urich resolved to fight. His public persona as a tenacious hero was about to be tested in the most private and grueling way imaginable. The war for his life had just begun. The abrupt cancellation of The Lazarus Man was a bitter pill, a professional betrayal that stung deeply, but it paled in comparison to the personal war Robert Urich was thrust into. In July 1996, the chilling words synovial sarcoma became his reality. This rare, insidious cancer, attacking the soft tissues of his body, was an invisible enemy, far more formidable than any on-screen villain he had ever faced.
Synovial cell sarcoma. It's a rare but virulent form of cancer. The guy at UCLA, Dr. Frederick Eilber, who's a world-renowned surgical oncologist, said that on a scale of 1 to 4, 1 being a smoldering little fire, 4 being a raging forest fire, this is 4. It's raging through your body. We have to stop it now.
Treat, however, was simply not in Robert Urich's vocabulary. He chose to confront this diagnosis head-on, his innate grit and unwavering optimism becoming a beacon of inspiration for millions. Urich decided to fight his cancer battle openly, transforming his private pain into a public platform for awareness. Even as he endured aggressive, often debilitating treatments, grueling rounds of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery, his determination never wavered.
I did that, and when they took fluid and, samples, and they said, 2 days later, you sweat it out. It was, I was supposed to be on your show that day.
That's correct.
And I went to the hospital, and I was going through all that. It was a very tense, strange time.
He remarkably continued to work, hosting the medical documentary series Vital Signs and the PBS show Boatworks. His commitment a testament to his fighting spirit. Parallel to his health battle, he pursued justice for the unjust cancellation of The Lazarus Man, filing a lawsuit against Castle Rock Entertainment in 2000, which was eventually settled privately. But his loudest voice was reserved for cancer advocacy. He poured his energy into raising awareness about the importance of early detection and research, efforts that earned him numerous honors, including a prestigious award from the John Wayne Cancer Institute and the Gilda Radner Courage Award, alongside his beloved wife, Heather Menzies-Urich. He launched the Urich Fund at the University of Michigan Comprehensive Cancer Center, channeling vital resources into sarcoma research. His dedication was personal and profound. After an appearance on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, he generously donated his entire $125,000 winnings directly to the fund. For a time, it seemed his relentless spirit had triumphed. In 1998, Urich was declared cancer-free. It was a moment of immense joy and relief, and he embraced his role as a national spokesperson for the American Cancer Society, using his platform to inspire and educate. Yet, the reprieve was cruelly short-lived. In November 2001, Urich shared the heartbreaking news that doctors had discovered new lumps. Though a new medication offered a sliver of hope, the cancer was relentless. In early April 2002, with breathing complications signaling the final turn, he was admitted to Los Robles Hospital and Medical Center in Thousand Oaks, California. On April 16, 2002, at the age of just 55, Robert Urich passed away, his cherished Heather and their 3 children by his side. A funeral mass was held 3 days later at St. Charles Borromeo Church in North Hollywood. His body was later cremated, and his ashes were interred at the family's serene vacation home in Prince Edward County, Ontario, Canada. Robert Urich's fight was over, but his spirit, a beacon of courage and grace, endured. And through every agonizing step of that valiant battle, an unwavering presence had been his wife, Heather, an actress whose own life journey was one of early stardom and a profound devotion that was about to face its unimaginable test. Through Robert Urich's grueling 6-year war with cancer, through every painful treatment and heartbreaking setback, he was never alone. His anchor, his unwavering source of strength, was his wife, Heather Menzies-Urich. But long before she was Robert Urich's steadfast rock, Heather Menzies was a star in her own right, captivating global audiences as the mischievous Louisa Von Trapp in the cinematic masterpiece, The Sound of Music. Her journey from a child actress to a devoted wife and, later, a fierce advocate is a compelling narrative of talent, enduring love, and a quiet fortitude that often went unseen beneath the glitter of Hollywood. Robert Urich's first marriage, to actress Barbara Rucker in 1968, had ended in divorce in 1974. A year later, in 1975, he found lasting love with Heather. Born Heather Margaret Brotherston Menzies on December 3rd, 1949 in Toronto, Canada, to Scottish immigrant parents. Her early life was a tapestry of different cities: Vancouver, Miami, London, and finally, Southern California, as her struggling artist father sought opportunities. Alongside her younger sister Sheila and older brother Neil, who passed in 2019, Heather navigated this peripatetic childhood, eventually graduating from John Burroughs High School in Burbank in 1967, and honing her craft at Falcon Studios University of the Arts. Her screen debut came in 1964 on the television series The Farmer's Daughter, but it was at the tender age of 14 that she landed the role that would etch her into cinematic history, Louisa, one of the spirited Von Trapp children. With no formal acting experience, she held her own amidst a talented ensemble cast, her voice joining in the iconic melodies of So Long Farewell and The Lonely Goat Herd. A memorable, unscripted moment of heroism occurred during the film's famous rowboat scene, where Heather quickly rescued a young Kim Carath, who played Gretel after she had fallen into the water and couldn't swim.
I think it took about 3 days to film that scene. Gretel couldn't swim, so she kept falling to the bottom of the lake and dragging her up by the, covered in leeches, and it was, that part is not in the movie, but it was quite the thing. I'm carrying her out of the lake at one point, and she had ingested so much water that she just threw up all over me.
Post-Sound of Music, Menzies-Urich carved out a long and varied career, appearing in a plethora of popular television series such as Bonanza, Dragnet, Alias, Smith & Jones, Room 222, Marcus Welby, M, D, and T, J, Hooker. She even shared the screen with her future husband in an episode of Vega. Sci-fi fans remember her as Jessica Six in the cult series Logan's Run, and her film credits include Hawaii, How Sweet It Is, Piranha, and Endangered Species. In a move that reflected the changing times and her assertiveness, she posed for a 1973 Playboy pictorial titled Tender Trap, a playful nod to her wholesome screen image. She met Robert Urich in 1974 in a charmingly prophetic encounter. They were filming a commercial in which they played a couple getting married. Life soon imitated art. They became a devoted real-life couple, their union built on shared values and deep affection. Together, they navigated the complexities of Hollywood and the joys and heartaches of building a family, eventually adopting 3 children. Their life together was a testament to unwavering commitment, a strong partnership that would be profoundly tested. But as Robert's life drew to a close, Heather, his steadfast champion, would find herself facing not only overwhelming grief, but also her looming health battles and a renewed, deeply personal mission, unaware that fate was preparing to deliver another devastating blow to the Urich family. In the crushing silence left by Robert Urich's death in 2002, Heather Menzies-Urich didn't simply retreat into grief, she mobilized. With a fortitude that defined her, she established the Robert Urich Foundation, pouring her heart and soul into the cancer research cause that her husband had so passionately championed. It was a mission she understood with a painful intimacy, for a shadow from her past, a hard-fought, victorious battle with ovarian cancer years earlier, lent a profound depth to her resolve. For the remainder of her life, she became a tireless advocate, dedicating her time and energy to supporting patients and families navigating the treacherous terrain of cancer. But fate, in its often unfathomable cruelty, was not yet finished with the Urich family. In November 2017, Heather received devastating news she was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. The glioblastoma was aggressive, and just weeks later, on Christmas Eve, December 24, 2017, at the age of 68, Heather Menzies-Urich passed away, surrounded by her loving family. Her son, Ryan Urich, poignantly remembered her as an actress, a ballerina, and someone who loved living her life to the fullest. He shared that she experienced no pain and, nearly 4 weeks after her diagnosis, had enough and took her last breath on this earth. Together, Robert and Heather had woven a rich tapestry of philanthropy. They helped raise funds for the Eccles Performing Arts Center at Park City High School in Utah, where the Robert Urich Scholarship was created in his memory. Their joint Robert and Heather Urich Fund for Sarcoma Research at the University of Michigan continues to support critical research. Robert's legacy is also etched in public memorials, the Robert Urich Interchange in his hometown of Toronto, Ohio, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 7083 Hollywood Boulevard, where for years he was the only U until Usher joined him. Their most enduring legacy, perhaps, lives on through their 3 adopted children, Ryan, Emily, and Allison Grady Urich. Their path to parenthood, after multiple miscarriages, was not easy, but Robert was a hands-on, emotionally present father. This love shaped his children profoundly. Ryan, after a brief exploration of acting with roles in projects like Nightwalk and The Killer Inside, found a deeper calling, inspired directly by witnessing his father's courageous but ultimately losing battle. He became an infectious disease specialist with Lovelace Medical Group in New Mexico. His sister Emily, similarly moved, now works as an emergency room nurse. Allison has chosen a life away from the public glare. These children, shaped by both extraordinary love and profound loss, carry forward the Urich's core values of compassion and service. Their parents' story is one of immense talent and tragic loss, but also an inspiring, resilient spirit. Yet, Robert Urich's life was also intertwined with another Hollywood giant, his friend Burt Reynolds, whose own path, though also marked by stardom, diverged dramatically when it came to navigating life's tempests. The whirlwind of Hollywood careers, personal battles, and the starkly contrasting life choices of figures like Robert Urich and Burt Reynolds paints a vivid, often cautionary picture of fame. But when the cameras stop rolling and the headlines fade, what truly remains in the dazzling, often fleeting galaxy of stardom? Some lights burn intensely only to quickly dim. Others, like Robert Urich and Heather Menzies-Urich, leave an enduring afterglow, a warmth fueled by courage, profound love, an unwavering purpose that continues to touch the world long after they have departed. Their story transcends the typical celebrity biography. It's a chronicle of Robert Urich's on-screen charisma, seamlessly matched by an extraordinary off-screen bravery. A quiet battle waged against a relentless disease with inspiring tenacity. It's also the story of Heather Menzies-Urich's formidable strength, her early fame giving way to a steadfast devotion as a wife, mother, and ultimately, a dedicated advocate in her own right. Together, they face the ravages of cancer not as victims, but as warriors, transforming their struggles into a public crusade for awareness and research through initiatives like the Urich Fund. Their unwavering commitment to family values shines through, most poignantly in the inspiring paths chosen by their children, Ryan and Emily, who channeled their experiences into careers of healing and compassion in the medical field. This dedication to service, to making a tangible difference, stands in quiet contrast to the more tumultuous narratives that often dominate Hollywood lore, offering a different measure of a life well lived. The Robert Urich Foundation and the scholarships established in their names are not mere memorials. They are active, living extensions of their shared commitment to easing the burden of others. Ultimately, the legacy of Robert Urich and Heather Menzies-Urich is not defined by the roles they played or the fame they achieved, but by the incredible grace with which they navigated immense adversity. Their lives, marked by both stunning success and heartbreaking tragedy, offer a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the enduring strength found in love and partnership, and the profound impact of a life dedicated to purpose. They were, indeed, more than just stars. They were beacons whose light, born of authentic courage and compassion, continues to inspire. And that's the end of today's video. Thanks for watching. If this content resonated with you, don't forget to like, share with others who appreciate thoughtful insights, and subscribe for more compelling explorations.